It's Conduit News Radio with Paul Harrell.
Welcome to the program. Thanks so much for being with us today. The intersection of conservative ideas and reality. You have found it. So I want to welcome to the program. I was just talking about this whole Dicamba issue, but we have three farmers who are with us today, and these three farmers are Richard Coy, Jimmy Williams, and Shawn Peebles, and they are in studio with us today. And it's a very tight camera, so I have to excuse us. So, guys, how you doing today? How you doing this morning?
Doing good, Paul.
Doing good.
Okay. All right, so let's start with this whole issue. So we got the Dicamba situation. The EPA says Dicamba is good to go. Our plant board here in Arkansas banned it for a time, and now we've got the story on the front page of the Gazette saying, "Hey, you guys ignored your own scientists." Or we've got the emails or the Gazette, got the emails. So what's y'all's reaction? Let's start with Richard. Richard Coy, and you are a honey bee farmer.
Yes, I'm a beekeeper. Well, my reaction is that I can't believe that they ignored all of the science from EPA scientists and scientists from across the country that said the volatility of dicamba is a problem.
Okay. Okay, let's go to Jimmy Williams. And you are a berry farmer.
Yes, sir. Strawberries and blackberries and other produce.
Okay. And so what's your reaction to this?
I'm not surprised, to be honest.
Okay.
It doesn't surprise me. It's been the problem from the start.
Okay. Shawn Peebles, you are an organic farmer. What are your thoughts?
Same as Jimmy's. I mean, I'm not surprised the EPA did it. I think that Monsanto's been buying their way through politics and through the EPA since it started.
Okay. So you guys have done a petition, and it's already been submitted to try to do what? What are you trying to accomplish with this petition?
Well, what we're trying to accomplish is to stop a dicamba over-the-top application at temperatures that are high enough to cause volatility, which is the issue with dicamba.
Okay. So you also want the plant board to continue doing what they're doing, I'm assuming.
No, they need to do their jobs.
Okay, and what would that be?
Just look out for the good and well-being of agriculture in Arkansas. That's not what's happening. Mm-hmm. They're looking out for one thing, which is dicamba-tolerant soybeans and cotton.
Okay, even though they already put a ban on.
It's fixing to change. That's why we had to submit this petition.
Okay, so tell me more about that. Why is it about to change? Like, how do you know that's about to change?
Shawn, that's probably one for you.
Well, we've had a farmer file a petition with the plant board that was heard and was approved that allowed them to spray to June 15th with special application use permits to be able to spray all year.
Okay. And so...
And those guys that want dicamba, there's only one group, and that is guys that are farming too many acres and can't manage what they got. Yeah. Dicamba is an easy button.
Okay.
Cleans up everything. Unfortunately, it kills everything around it.
Mm-hmm. And this is it's a clear case of, like, if you damage somebody's property, this is really a basic American concept. You're responsible if you damage it, but we kind of have the situation where no, I mean, I'm using this product. I bought this product. I don't care where it goes after I use it. That doesn't seem right. I think most people say that doesn't seem right.
Well, the issue is physical drift with any herbicide is always going to be an issue, but most of the time it's pretty easy to track. You know where it comes from. Dicamba can go all over the place. We had some move across the end of a pumpkin field in 2017. No source to be found. Plant Board and BASF both sent representatives out. BASF is a manufacturer of Ingenio, which is one of the dicamba formulations. Yeah. And there was no source to be found. Luckily, it was a small amount of damage on one part of the field.
So even though there has been a ban for a certain time period throughout the year, I mean, there was still a ton of dicamba damage across the state, right?
More in 2017 when it was legal. There was a study in Missouri this year that estimated Arkansas still had 100,000 acres of damaged soybeans in 2018 under the ban.
Okay, all right. So Richard Coy, you're kind of not on camera, sir, and I apologize.
That's all right.
We have a very, very, very small studio. If you want to move closer,
no,
you can.
I'm good.
Are you sure? Are you sure? All right. I want to bring you in here now. Tell us about your bee farming operation. Tell us about everything. You're not just in Arkansas, right? You're in other places.
That's right. So my brother my brother and I, we run Coy's Honey Farm, 12,000 hives. We run bees in Mississippi and Arkansas, from the Gulf Coast of Mississippi all the way up to Jonesboro. And our bees in Arkansas cover roughly 1 million acres that we pollinate, whether by pollination of watermelons and cucumbers, or it's pollinating soybeans and cotton. Soybeans and cotton do not require pollination, but it enhances the crop. And then we are also pollinating all of the wildlands, the wild vegetation, just because our bees are there. And so we cover a lot of area. And what I have seen in the last 2 years is a lot of the wild vegetation is being damaged or it dies. And in the areas where dicamba is used, our honey production has been cut down 50%.
Wow. So you're actually seeing less of a crop because of the use of this chemical.
That is correct. The last 2 years, we have lost $1.1 million.
Wow, $1.1 million. Okay, so what's going to happen to your business? You know, as a bee farmer, what's going to happen to your business going forward if dicamba is not restricted in some way?
So we more than likely will leave Arkansas for honey production and move our bees to South Mississippi to collect a honey crop. We may have to bring bees to Arkansas just to have a place to put them down through the summer months, but they will not be collecting any honey, and they will be in poor condition. It's just a matter of space, of areas that we can take our bees.
Yeah.
But the bees the last 2 years, our beehives are in poor health, which we don't have enough bees to send to our pollination contracts either.
Richard, maybe Monsanto will sell you some sort of dicamba-resistant honeybee.
I hope not.
Is that no? You wouldn't buy that?
No.
Maybe they've got the cure and they just fix it right
well,
away.
I think they think they have the cure for everything.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay, let's go back to Jimmy Williams, berry farmer. Tell us about your operation.
We grow about 2 acres of blackberries, and we've got 20,000 strawberries in right now. We started in 2012, and we've been growing ever since. So even though I've not been damaged by dicamba myself yet, it's been a lot of hard work, and we don't want to see that ruined. You know, we have talked tentatively about if we lose this fight, you know, we may leave the Delta and go somewhere to the hills where we can get away from it.
Yeah, because they're not spraying up in that neck of the woods.
No, not to the extent. No,
okay.
No.
So we have another example of a business potentially being uprooted, changing in a major way, if this continues. All right, Shawn Peebles, let's talk about organic farming.
Mm-hmm.
Is there benefit to farming organic stuff in Arkansas? Tell us all the stuff that you farm.
I'm a contract grower, so we farm 2,000 acres of organic. We have a processing plant outside of Augusta, and we grow for Del Monte, Seneca, Gerber, any of the large corporations that want to contract a high volume of organic acres. We do green beans, process our pumpkins, edamame, sweet potatoes, numerous other crops.
Okay.
You know, the benefits to us is the fact that we can make a living on 2,000 acres and we control our weed pressure effectively without dicamba.
Wow.
Anybody can if they're well managed. Dicamba is not necessarily the answer. There are thousands of other chemicals out there that these other producers can use. They've chose dicamba because it helps the bottom line. It's inexpensive.
All right, so you know, we talked to your friends here. You know, their businesses are going to radically change if this continues. What about you? Are you guys got plans, or you know, if you guys lose this fight?
If we lose the fight, we will continue on right here in Arkansas until we go out. But we've already had customers tell us they won't be back to Arkansas.
Really?
No, yeah, several large processing companies across the United States.
And that's because of dicamba?
Sure.
They cite that.
Yeah, because all these companies that we grow for, they're providing the inputs. It's their seed. It's proprietary to them. They're not going to risk the value of losing their crop.
Yeah, so it becomes a risk at that point.
Absolutely.
Okay. There's been legislation. You say you want the plant board to do their job. The fact that there was a ban at all was a big deal. Because other states, they don't have an independent plant board, but there's been not once but twice. There's been legislation and an attempt to change the plant board. Now, if you talk to the people that are behind this effort, they tell you they want you to pass this legislation, but it's not going to change anything. Well, that doesn't make sense. Why, if it's not going to change anything, then why have the legislation? Clearly, it's going to do something different. There's an effort underway, according to my sources, to court the Farm Bureau to get them on board with this new plan that's been tried once and failed, tried a second time and failed. And a lot of people think it's because there was a dicamba ban in the first place, and that Monsanto, much like they've now gotten the EPA to go along with it, they don't want an independent plant board. So let me just get your reaction to this plan and what you guys are hearing about this plan and what you think about the plan. We can start with Richard if you want to go. We'll go right down the line.
Well, as far as the plan, I've heard the same information that you're talking about. I think when Jimmy mentioned he wants the plant board to do their job, yes, the plant board had a ban. After April 15th, you could not apply the product. The problem is farmers applied the product, and there so far has been no penalty for that. Maybe a $1,000 fine, but there's nothing to deter the farmers from using the product. If the product is available to purchase, it will be used, and that's the problem that I have with it.
Okay, that it's available to purchase. Okay, Jimmy Williams.
I guess I'll come back to saying I wish they would do their job. First of all, science has been ignored since, well, not ignored, but cast aside as much as possible since the beginning of this. It shouldn't take this much debate to recognize that this product is flawed. There's nothing wrong with the genetics of the soybeans or the cotton. The problem is with the formulation of dicamba. It's still volatile. It doesn't sit down, and it doesn't take, a room full of scientists to tell anybody that. It shouldn't. It's trying to be ignored.
Okay, Shawn Peebles.
Well, I agree with what Jimmy said. I mean, the plant board's got to do its job. The plan that everybody's talking about, it all boils down to this: it's money. Everything that's happening here, everything. I was on the dicamba task force. I started in the beginning. When I first heard of dicamba, I didn't even know what it was. Hadn't seen damage in my area. I'm from the Woodruff County area, White County. I spent 2 days at Kaiser doing research that we were required to do so by the governor's office to be on the task force, to educate ourselves. I was in shock at what was happening. I was in shock that we had a task force because everything that we saw, it was volatile for 72 hours. That's your problem. You asked why you can't, nobody's responsible. Check your wind in Arkansas in a 72-hour period. It blows in all four directions. Mm-hmm. If I got 3 people spraying, I got no clue which 3 did it or which one of the 3 did it.
Wow. So you're saying, why was there a task force at all when it's pretty clear that this is just a bad product that has no business being used, right?
Absolutely.
Gosh. Okay, so the plan specifically, you say it boils down to money. I'm trying to figure out what exactly are they trying to change? In y'all's opinion, what are they trying to do to the plant board? If it's about money or, what does that mean about money?
Well, if the plant board is moved into the Department of Agriculture like the governor proposes, the governor would have full control of every aspect of agriculture in the state, and there would not be a body like we have set in place now to oversee what is going on. So, in other words, the money, whoever contributes to the governor will have input in what is taking place in agriculture in Arkansas.
Okay, so you're saying basically, whoever is the highest bidder, that's who will make the decisions, and it won't be the people who are actually in the fields, who are actually doing the work.
That's correct. You're not going to outspend Monsanto.
So it's Monsanto, and this is a huge. I mean, you guys realize this is a huge undertaking, right? I mean, is there anybody that's ever won against Monsanto? Except recently, you had the guy who, the court said he got cancer from Roundup, but that took years. I mean, there are people that were saying that forever, and it's now he's, they're saying, yeah, it can cause cancer. Monsanto's trying to dispute it, obviously, but. Where do y'all go from here?
You're doing it.
Okay.
I mean, you're right. We can't outspend Monsanto. They got $88 billion. I mean, there's no way. We're just a afterthought. I can tell you that in Louisiana, they continue to build a multi-billion-dollar dicamba plant down there during all this, and praise them.
Yeah.
What we have to do is get to the public. We need the soccer moms to know, why is your soccer field dead? If it's volatilizing for 72 hours and it's killing everything around it, don't you think you're breathing it?
Yep.
You don't have a choice.
Yep.
The more you spray it, the more it loads the atmosphere. The higher the number of acres that you spray, the more acres get damaged. If you let them spray all summer long on every acre, well, all suck it in all year long. You want your kids to do that? No. I mean, you've got courtyard up at Osceola that was graveyard dead, killed the magnolia trees in it. I mean, how did it get there? There's not a field that close to it. We got movement up to 20 miles away.
Really?
20 miles.
It can go as far as 20 miles.
Can go over 20.
Wow. Well, so talk about this. Front page of the Gazette, scientists with the Federal Environmental Protection Agency recommended restrictions on dicamba use that the agency ultimately ignored when it recently allowed for the spraying of the herbicide on soybeans and cotton for another 2 years. Emails obtained by the Arkansas Democrat Gazette through Freedom of Information Act show that the EPA scientists on October 5th sought a 443-foot infield buffer between areas. Those buffers instead were set at 57 feet. So that's now the regulation. Now, would the 443-foot buffer, would that help things at all, or what do y'all think?
No.
Okay, so even if it, so
Well, one way it would help is it would, if a gentleman was willing to follow the law, then there would be fields he would not be able to spray at all at 443-foot buffer, because it would encompass the whole field eventually.
Okay.
And so it would deter part of the amount of spraying that would be taking place.
Mm-hmm. But a 57-foot buffer, I mean, is that basically might as well not have a buffer
That's
at all?
correct.
As far as volatility goes, it wouldn't help anything. It's moving that far and further
Okay.
already.
So it's just a joke. I mean, why even have the regulation at 57 feet at all?
Well, here was the statement made to me. I asked the question at the task force. This is in the minutes. You can pull it up. Went to Rockefeller Center. We had a chemical rep there that was representing Monsanto and Bayer. And I asked him during the meeting, I said, how far or how close can a sensitive crop be to this? You know, what's a safe distance? And his words to me, if you can see it, it's too far.
Wow.
I can see a long ways in the Delta.
Yeah. Flat land, man. The horizon.
That was them saying that, not us.
Wow. So they understand what this is.
Sure they do.
So, and I guess, what do they think? I mean, how do we know what they think? Is it? They just say, well, we got we can sell you the resistant, the soybean, the dicamba resistant soybean, but that doesn't solve your problem, does it? Richard Coy, being a bee farmer, that doesn't solve your problem.
No, the problem that the beekeeper has is the wild vegetation that the bees desperately need to have a variety of pollen. That vegetation is being destroyed. And back in 2015, Penn State University put out research that said if this product is used in a widespread area, 50% of pollinator habitat will be destroyed and 50% of pollinator visits will take place. So in other words, half of the vegetation will die, and then the vegetation that's left, only half of the bees will be able to get any nectar or pollen from that. So
Okay.
the pollinators and the honeybees, they won't have any food.
This is an issue that I think can be very bipartisan in terms of who it appeals to. I mean,
Absolutely.
there's a ton of people on the left who are, in my opinion, overly environmentally cautious. But here's a clear-cut example, I think, where we're saying, hang on, I mean, if it's going to damage your private property and you're not going to be able to know who did it, then I don't think this is a product that needs to be used. This is the purpose of government. This is the purpose of government, to secure your effects on your property, to where when you go do something, you have reasonable confidence, not guarantee, but a reasonable confidence that your stuff's going to be there when you get back to it.
Everyone should have the right to grow a garden in their backyard and let it produce something for them to harvest. You plant a garden in the Delta region, very unlikely that you will harvest everything that you should have harvested because of the herbicide drift.
So let's talk about that. Speak to that. Has that happened before? I mean, when we're talking about just people who are not farmers, but they're just gardening in their backyard, and dicamba's killing their stuff too?
Oh, yeah, and generally they don't know what it is. They just think they can't grow a garden for whatever reason. They don't understand the problem behind it.
Wow, that's frustrating. Well, gentlemen, we're out of time. We got to go. I want to give all three of you whatever else that you haven't said, and we should have you back on again. But if there's something you haven't said, what you were saying, Shawn, about we need the soccer mom to know these things. We need everybody to know. But so whatever else y'all want to say in the closing seconds, please go for it.
I'll just say that on top of being a berry and produce farmer, I'm a certified crop advisor. I spend my summers as well consulting on rice and soybean and corn acres. And in 2017, when all this spraying was happening, I spent one day a week over around the Truman area, and any field of soybeans that I saw that was not dicamba tolerant was cupped up and damaged. I mean, it was everywhere. You didn't have to look. The native vegetation, like Richard's talking about, was damaged. It wasn't hard to find. You just look around.
Yeah.
It was everywhere.
Yeah.
I want to encourage everybody to call the state plant board. Call the governor's office. There's a liaison to the governor for agriculture. Call her. We need you.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
I think that both of these guys have said what needs to be said.
Okay. All right. Well, there you have it, folks. This agriculture is a huge industry. We got small businesses at stake, and we're going to take a break. I really appreciate you guys coming in. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, folks. It's Conduit News Radio. We'll be back in just a moment.